Can political parties, Indian political parties, although we function in a parliamentary democracy, can they be really democratic?
They're not
Because
democratic.
usually it happens that it is high command, usually it is Delhi, usually it is center.
No, in an even more endemic sense, it is not a democracy. The Indian one is not a democracy. The American one is not a democracy. The British one is not a democracy, for the simple reason that you've got a lot of competition as far as the voting part is concerned, in the sense that everybody is free to vote. Everybody who is of the requisite age is free to vote. There's no freedom as far as candidature is concerned.
You cannot choose your candidate.
It is limited to a very small coterie.
You cannot choose who will contest. You have to only choose from the people who are contesting.
Yeah, no, that's right. And there's no competition there. I call this system universal adult suffrage, not democracy. I'm quite clear about it. It can be converted into a democracy if we want to. The Supreme Court made an order some years ago saying that there should be internal democracy in political parties. And the Election Commission so far has been satisfied in taking reports from political parties that such and such posts fell vacant to be filled by such and such date, and they've been filled. So it's been satisfied with those reports. I have a sneaking suspicion that there's not much democracy in the process of electing those people. So what the Election Commission needs to do today is to be proactive and to supervise those elections, and to have observers from civil society to sit there and to see that things are transparent, and that by and large, I mean, you know, everybody in that party gets a chance.
So when we say that we do not have a right to choose who is going to contest an election, how do we do it? If at all we decide to do it, how do we do it?
There's a caucus. There's a small caucus that controls everything, and it's with nearly all the political parties.
Are our political parties willing for an internal democracy?
No, they don't want to, obviously. I mean, many of them don't want to. Some are more democratic than others. But I think it's time now for the Election Commission to be proactive.
Can Election Commission directly interfere into the functioning of a political
party? Why not?
Party?
Because you've got that Supreme Court order, and it doesn't spell out the details. You're supposed to work out those details yourself. So
Election Commission can take a step ahead.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm of the opinion that it can.
When you're conducting Youth Congress election, do you think this internal democracy of Congress moving at higher levels, at a Pradesh Congress committee level or a higher level than that?
I don't think that the Congress party is interested in this. It is it's just Rahul Gandhi with his Youth Congress.
They wouldn't like to do it at a Pradesh Congress committee level.
Oh, it's a question of you know, who's controlling the Congress party, and whether the people who are controlling would like to have this sort of thing. I don't see them as being interested at the moment.
So right now you are going to stick to the Youth Congress level. So coming to a small state like Goa, we always say that because our constituencies are small, the electorate is limited. It is very easy to buy voters. It is very easy to manipulate the things. Do you think small constituency and small electorate is a disadvantage?
Now, first and foremost, the first assumption that people make, that by giving freebies, you're actually buying them. I'm not sure that the Indian voter is that stupid. My reading is that he takes freebies from everybody and ultimately decides on his own. Somehow freebies have become part of the electoral process. And if it is really a question of bribing, well, bribery again is almost impossible to prove under the Indian legal system. So,
But having a small constituency is better in terms of development, or having a big constituency is better? In Goa, we
I'll
face a
put it
lot of troubles
differently.
with that.
A small constituency is good democratically, because the value of each vote then increases. It increases. So if you don't go and vote, it's more telling than in a constituency in Delhi which may have 2 million voters.
So don't you think people with huge lots of money and the amount of money that we see in electoral process today, it becomes easy for them to manipulate a small constituency than a big one?
Well, I mean, for argument's sake, yes, certainly. But you have vast amounts of money in Goa today, thanks to the mining industry and thanks to the tourism industry.
Is corrupt voter the most dangerous thing for Indian democracy?
I don't think it's the voter so much as the candidate.
You don't think that it is the voter who is getting corrupt?
I don't think so.
Voter just takes freebies from everybody and then he decides whom to vote. So even if we talk about this taking freebies from everybody, there comes a moral part into it as a citizen. Do you think somewhere we have reached at a level where our morality permits us to take freebies from everybody? It's a moral degradation of a citizen.
It is. It is.
And how we need to tackle it?
Again, you come back to the same point. You must evolve a system which doesn't need all this money.
The moment money comes into picture, there is a problem. So tell us one thing. You have seen Gujarat, you have seen Kashmir, and at that time, those were two of the most burning states. How strong do you think religion plays part, and how strong religion manipulates our whole process of election?
Religion has become politicized. Basically, I see that religion per se is becoming less important. But it's being used for politics. That's the trouble. And religion is required for a limited purpose. It keeps the masses under some amount of discipline. Sometimes the discipline is not good; it's questionable. But most of the time, it is acceptable. So when religion crumbles, then there's no restraining factor, and that's the trouble. And the main factor in this country really is the market, is capitalism, the market. Because if you read Eric Hobsbawm, the famous historian, you read his book on capitalism, he writes that around about the 1830s in England, people had already started saying the same thing about capitalism and how everything dissolved, all social bonds dissolved, and only money was important. We are almost 200 years behind. What people were saying in England in 1830 is being said in India today. So all our social bonds are dissolving. So if society crumbles, then you're only left with individuals. If you have only individuals will do whatever they feel like doing. They'll sell their grandfathers and fathers if necessary. And we are really at that stage today.
We're really at that stage.
So we're in serious trouble.
So what is the way ahead?
I don't see any way ahead, because the market has to work itself out. And I don't think any of those religious leaders and so on have any have any solutions.
So market will have to evolve itself to solutions. That's the only thing. So coming to the last part of the interview, you have been an IS officer. How strong can Babus in our country take a stand against the political class when it really matters? And is it possible?
Well, it depends. You see, if they are in the same office, most of them will not. That means, you know, the secretary and various people below him, and the minister in the same department. They will not stand up. Most of them will not stand up. But if the same secretary is sent to the election commission and he finds that he can be independent, he can prosper by being independent, then he can defy. And that is why the election commission has had some questionable people in the past. But nothing has gone wrong.
The moment they are put in a different environment, they function differently. And you don't think that there is any solution that they function well in the existing environment?
No, they won't. Most of them will not.
Most of them will not.
No, because they have a stake to follow the minister.
And they will do that.
And they'll do that.
So what our bureaucracy needs is that independent environment to function properly.
To function properly and to be thoroughly prosecuted and convicted and punished whenever they do something wrong.
So last thing, you have been in Goa for a couple of days now. What would you like to tell Goans?
I've met a whole lot of lively people and very, very well-meaning people. So I say, don't be disheartened. I mean, things look bad, but if you have the courage to do something, you can work out a reasonable solution.
And things can fall in place.
Yes.
Things can fall in place. That's a very optimistic point on which we are ending this interview. So you came here. You are on a busy schedule. You gave us this interview. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks.